Welcome to the Barker Podcast Collection.
The war was lost, the treaty signed, I was not caught, I crossed the line, I was not caught, though many tried, I'll live among you, well disguised.
Welcome to the Not Watching Podcast. My name's Rob Howard, and this week I'm joined by
Ian Bruce and Marcus Hurley.
You can contact us on email at notwatchingpodcast@gmail.com or follow us on Twitter at notwatchingpod. We're going to talk about our top 5 TV shows in a future episode, but this week we're just going to talk about some TV shows that didn't quite make the grade.
I want to apologise to the True Detective gang, crew, team, because for some reason I forgot about it, and it would have been my number 3, but bumping everything else, because I thought season 2 was fantastic. I know I'm the only one who did, but there we go.
Okay.
So,
I agree. Yes, it was very good. Didn't quite make my top 10, if I was to actually have a formal top 10. It's, it just missed it. But yeah, I think personally I actually preferred it to season 1.
I would probably say that as well. Just because it seemed more... Once season one blew its wad and you knew what it was basically about, then it was just heading towards a resolution, and the resolution was a bit lame, to be honest. It was just baddie in a creepy house. Oh no, what's going to happen? Which I know there were parallels with season 2, but I think the characters were better in season 2. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry to McConaughey and Harrison, but I thought I thought McAdams was amazing. Even Colin Farrell, who I've only liked in Bruges, to be honest. I thought he was stupendous. And I think, like everybody else, I was ready to give up, and then it had that fucking gun battle that made the one in Heat look like 2 kids playing in a sandpit with bits of wood.
It was GTA 5.
It was, wow, how many heads are going to go pop in this little fight? They've had none of this so far. Spoiler, but, you know, if you're on the fence, then it's worth sticking with it just to the end of episode 4, because it's just holy fuck. And then the whole thing changes. So you basically get 2 kind of mini-series in one full series.
Oh, wow.
You get the bit before the battle and the bit after the battle, and they are very different things with the same characters. And that was kind of bold. It might have been a writing choice they had because they were losing the way or whatever, but I think it really worked. And the other thing that really got me was I think it's the last episode when there's a coupling of the flesh. And they were, after they'd done that, they were sitting there just talking about their lives. And that really hit a note with me, because a friend of mine says that's how it is. And I thought that was beautiful, because that never happens in a movie. They have a fuck and then they go and do stuff, or in a TV show. But this was, they have a fuck and then they sit there going, fuck, this is how I am and who I am. And it was just so personal. I loved it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
No, I know what you're talking about. Cool. You got anything, Marcus?
Oh, I don't know. I have no idea. I'm just done.
Okay.
I think.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll throw
I've had
one
a conscious
in then.
decoupling of my mind, I think.
I just want to give a shout out to Narcos. It was another excellent Netflix show with international potential, I think. Oh God, I sound like one of the executives from Netflix, don't I?
Is it a game changer?
But it's basically world cinema, because it's primarily Spanish language, and it's shot on location, I think. It's definitely not shot here or America.
It's shot in Margate, isn't it, surely?
And it's got like a kind of epic flavour. It's kind of it's all about the drug cartels and stuff. I've explained about it before, but I thought that was a really promising show. We're getting more of it. I'm surprised at that, because I felt like it. I don't know if it's got the legs for a second season, but it's kind of, if people watch it, that's what's going to happen, isn't it? So
yeah, that's on my list of things to watch. Once I've finished all of the crazy stuff. Well, for the last few months, for about the last half a year or so, I've been watching Breaking Bad and Sons of Anarchy, and they've been pretty much taken up. a lot of time getting through all of that, which I've now finished both of. I feel like I'm slowly catching up to everyone else.
And how did you feel? How did you feel about the ending of those shows without spoiling?
Breaking Bad, yes. Okay, the only way it could really end. Wow. Sons of Anarchy, wow. Some characters I kind of thought took you long enough. Some romances I thought, good on you. Strange, but good on you. Made perfect sense. Interesting.
I know what you're talking about now.
Interesting for a show back then, but I'm also thinking quite progressive and really ahead of its time, considering we have a lot of shows like Transparental and all this sort of stuff now, or something like that now.
Yeah.
But also, I just thought that ending, that last 10 minutes with that song, and just the way that it ended, just stuck with me. I was in work today and I realised I'd made a Sons of Anarchy playlist on YouTube of just like some of the EPs. And it was just going through it, and I was listening to that last song, and I got a chill down my spine. Admittedly, it's just, it's Thugs Are Us on bikes. It sometimes it drags itself out ridiculous. But just that end song, was it Come Join the Murder or something like that? And it's just so good. So good. Almost, yeah. It vindicated all the hours of, oh God, it's for the good of charming. It's for family. It's for bikes. I'm a teller. I'm not a teller. Shut up. Yeah, it was pretty much a roller coaster of emotions for it. Bit of a slog. Some bits I really kind of loved. So overall, I'd say, it was definitely a good series. Anyway, yeah.
I thought the ending of season 7 was good, but the getting there was a bit of an effort.
Yes,
I thought the
definitely.
actual season itself was pretty weak.
It took ages, and then suddenly it wrapped up in the last episode, and you think, well, why didn't you do that ages ago?
Yeah, it does happen with a lot of shows, although I would say Breaking Bad was strong right to the end. That probably dipped around the season 4 mark,
that
maybe.
was when I slowed down a bit.
Yeah, but Mad Men was the same, like the latest season of that earlier in the year, or the last season of that earlier in the year was kind of slow as shit, but the ending was excellent. So it was worth sticking with. I've got another one.
I've got another one too.
Okay, do you want to go on?
We might have the same one, actually. I've got The Man in the High Castle.
Okay, no, I haven't got that, but
which
that's cool.
Was I don't know. It might still be a fantastic premise of an alternate reality post Second World War where the Axis wins and America is divided. Japanese have the West Coast and Germany have the East Coast and part of the middle.
We did record an episode about it, actually, that you weren't on. So we did go through this before. But no, that's fine. Not everyone's going to listen to that, for God's sake. It's like...
Now I'm busted as to not listening to the episodes that I'm not on. It's all right, I'll have time in the months ahead, believe me.
Yeah.
So... And I didn't really like any of the characters. That was the main thing. I liked the characters on the Axis powered more than the Resistance and the whining hero characters. But the last
you should say that.
But the last episode, I was, for most shows like Mr. Robot, I haven't got to the end because my wife and I have been watching it and we just thought, fuck, this is so up its own arse. And I understand why people like it, absolutely, like Sense8 as well. But I just, no, it's too pop culture for me, thanks very much. Now I'm 23, I'm too old for all of that. So we gave up with those quite quickly, but with Man in the High Castle, which I watched on my own, I did get to the end, and about a third of the way through the last episode, I thought, well, at least I've gone all the way through before deciding I don't want to see any more. And then the rest of the last episode happened, and I thought, oh, right, okay, you're doing the extremely slow burn, are you, motherfuckers? Right. So.
I couldn't agree more. Yeah, I don't like any of the characters really, and I found that it was like, it's a great idea that would have maybe been a great movie, but I just didn't think that there was enough happening in 10 episodes, basically.
I think I'd like to read the book. I know it's a Philip K. Dick book, which I was quite surprised about. and from like in the 50s or so. It's like a really old Philip K. Dick book. It's excellent, by all accounts. But season 2 is going to be the same characters doing the same shit with nothing more of the last episode thing. Then I'm going to be out, I'm afraid.
Yeah, me too. It's just going to be like fucking Lost again.
Yes, the whole thing is like the first episode of Lost. Oh my god, they're on an island and there's a smoke monster. And then the rest, there's 5 seasons of, now they're fucking time travelling. Right, okay.
Yeah.
So, spoiler. If you've got that far, you won't care by then anyway.
I was pretty much the same. I never warmed to, I can't even remember her name, the main character. I found that a lot of her choices tended to annoy me. Because she always ended up in situations. She was okay, but I thought that her and the other guy who was in the truck, they just didn't feel strong. The fact that I can't even recall their names.
Yeah.
And I sat and watched it. It felt like, I would say Swedish pacing, but it wasn't sweet. It wasn't like Scandinavian pacing. They went for Japanese drama pacing, which is often quite slow. You watch a lot of Japanese films, and they're often very slow paced, a lot of deliberate, and a lot of symbolism. But there wasn't that much. It was just slow. It was a slow drama. It felt like watching an old episode of Sons and Daughters.
You're
I actually was doing the washing up because I wanted to do something whilst this was on.
Well, because because there'd be scenes where it'd just be someone looking really pissed off, talking to someone else who looks pissed off. Yeah. And just,
and you're getting pissed off.
I might as well just have the audio play because there's nothing there was no subtlety to it, as I think John pointed out.
The only element I found interesting was when you first saw the Concorde, which, considering how soon after the war that was made, and it had the red stripe and the Nazi flag on the tail, and I kind of went, "Oh, that's interesting. Maybe they would have made that with German engineering and stuff."
Spoilers for the next season. I do hope not. But the book has them. The Germans have gone to Mars and stuff. They've taken all the technologies from. They've got the people that they didn't give to America at the end of the war, and they've built rockets to Mars and shit. So they're not in an Iron Sky kind of way. But I was
going to say, does it turn into
no? It's but their technology has gone further than the Concorde. So
right,
just finally on that, the first episode implied that woman had character and depth, and she was going to do stuff because of her sister. And that guy was. Is he or isn't he? And I can kind of see why he might be, but I also hope that he isn't. And then the next 9 episodes were.
It was the fact that you had, like as you said, it's the fact that you saw her go into the Aikido class, and she was very high up in that. She was one of those people where, because she was a woman, they were obviously holding her back, but she was much better than her grade suggested. And that only had one element. It was almost like a Chekhov gun. Yeah. And it almost misfired.
In the previous episode, in this episode, in the next episode, there was a discussion about empowering women. And I thought the first episode made it look like, oh, there's a woman with character and depth. But no, actually, she's just what is she? Who is she? Where does she come from? What are her motivations? And actually, she's just kind of flailing around like everybody else.
Yeah. Yeah, I think she's supposed to be your way in, but there's no agency. There wasn't much agency.
I'm not dismissing her ability as an actor or actress, or whatever the correct word is today. But the writing let her down, and that's a shame because I'd like to see more of her stuff. I think she's got some. I think she will be good.
Yeah,
hopefully. Considering
she was the first to let us into the world of these films that they were seeing, and she just seemed to just drift. Her character drifted from one place to another, to another, to another. Everyone else had horrific things happening, like to and around them. And she just sort of drifted from one bubble of story pacing area to another.
Maybe it's the source material. Maybe the book is a sprawling mess of ideas as well. I don't know.
Well, I think the way I understand it, I've spoken to people who have read the book, and the book focuses on the guy who makes the gun. He's the main character.
Oh, right. Okay.
So I can completely understand why they decided to elaborate and expand it a bit more.
I thought he was in the...
Yeah,
I mean, his character
was
not doing anything for me either. But.
Right.
Yeah, well, we'll have to see. Anyway,
Okay.
I just wanted to quickly mention a couple. The Nick season 2, I watched that. I have to say, not recommended while you're eating or have any kind of post-Christmas stomach situation, because the finale of season 2 was like almost like running to the bathroom, vomit inducing. It was seriously grim. They do some really mad stuff in that show. It's all of the second season was again directed and written. I don't know if it's all written by, but it's certainly all directed by Steven Soderbergh. Although he's now said, well, the way that season 2 ends, I don't want to say anything spoilerific, but he's not going to be doing any more. Steven Soderbergh, the director, he said he's kind of left it with Cinemax and gone like, if anyone else wants to have a go, that's fine, but I've done 2 seasons of television now and I want to do something else. Mate. Yeah, kind of.
Drop him a note.
Oh, mate, if only. But some of the direction in this was awesome, like really big, long shots, elaborate locations full of extras, and characters having a conversation, then the camera moving over and following someone else, and then going into another room, and then another conversation going on. Like not like the whole show was in one take, but there was plenty of very long theatrical kind of performances, brilliant locations. It's a lavish show, but the subject matter I can't imagine being for everyone, because at the end of the day it's on the operating theatre and they didn't really know what they were doing. There's a scene where they're trying to get rid of a tumour in someone's neck. There's a Siamese twin separation. Yeah, and all that kind of stuff no one had done before. So it's interesting. And it also goes into like a lot of the like backstreet abortion stuff, and the fact that there's a lot of like underhand sort of shady business dealings with the building of this second version of the Nick Hospital. So yeah, pretty cool. Anyone got anything else?
I did binge the Scream TV series actually when that became available on Netflix in October.
How was it?
I enjoyed it. It reminded me very much in a similar vein to what they did with From Dusk Till Dawn, where they expanded a film into a TV series. It felt like the first Scream film, but modernised, well, with social media and similar sort of casting, but also self-referencing and parodying, including the fact that it parodies itself, where a question's asked, but, surely a horror movie can't work as a TV series. But it actually did keep true to itself, in which the premise was you don't know who it is until the end. And it genuinely keeps you guessing.
I did like the Scream movies. I know that's a guilty pleasure, but I did.
But I would say it felt more like Scream 1, Scream 2, rather than the latter ones.
Okay.
So it did kept us hooked. We watched all of it, 10 episodes. We didn't stop until we got to the end. We just needed to know. We just needed to know.
Yeah.
At 4 in the morning.
That's cool that it's serialized.
Yeah.
John really liked it as well.
It was, I would definitely say it's worth a watch. If you can, do it in batches, because it keeps the pacing going, I would say. But yeah, I was very impressed with that, but it didn't quite make my list, so, yeah.
Okay.
Cool. You got anything more, Ian?
I've only got, just quickly, The Bridge, the Scandinavian-Danish co-production, The Bridge, did season 3 this year on BBC4 in the UK.
Wow, I remember you mentioning that when they'd just done the first one.
Yeah. The central character is still there. She's as awesome as always. The character she was working with in the previous 2 is no longer available. So it's a new dynamic. The Bridge, they're going to have to call it something else eventually, because there's only so many crimes that can have a connection to the bridge that connects Denmark and Sweden.
Get rid of it, I say. Nothing but trouble.
They were a bit like Man in the High Castle, and perhaps because of that, maybe. At the start, I thought, well, yeah, this is not what I was. No, I think but I stuck with it, and by the end, I thought the new relationship was working pretty well. So, if you like your Scandi Noir, and you've not seen it, it'll be on. It might still be on the iPlayer. You can certainly get it from Amazon and stuff, and some good performances. It's a bit formulaic for some of the murder stuff, but shoots doke. Thanks for listening.
Cool. I just wanted to give a quick shout out to Master of None, which is the new comedy with Aziz Ansari from Parks and Rec. He's a little bit of a squirt of a dude, but he's great, and it kind of tackles a lot of sort of issues that 30-somethings might be finding, aging parents, potential parenthood. But it's very funny, and it's got a really sweet kind of through line to it, and it's really well shot, all on location in New York. So yeah, that's another awesome Netflix show. And finally, Ash vs Evil Dead. For me, I finished that the other week.
Good, worth it.
I'd say, yeah. I mean, it doesn't outstay its welcome. It's 20 minutes of gore and just inappropriate humour. Yeah.
They're only short episodes then?
Yeah, they're like 20 minutes.
Okay, right.
There's 10 of them, and
Jesus.
you could pretty much mainline it, I reckon, if you were feeling particularly in a strange mood, where you felt the need to watch people like close range machine gun people's heads and explosions of blood and just some of the most horrific stuff I've ever seen, to be honest. But
stay away from the internet then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I thought it was quite funny. The joke might have been getting a little bit long towards the end, but it had a good finale. So yeah, it made my top 10. This has been the Not Watching Podcast in partnership with notlistening.co.uk, where you can also hear myself and Ian talk about video games and virtual reality on the Not Playing Podcast, and Adam, Ash and Will talk about all manner of funny things on the Not Listening Podcast. You can email us at notwatchingpodcast@gmail.com, or you can tweet at or follow us on Twitter at notwatchingpod. You can find the show notes for this show at notlistening.co.uk, and if you're listening to us on iTunes, then please do give us a review. Anyway, that's all for now. Thanks for listening. See ya.
Bye.
And I'll stick it deep inside